It's time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Yes, it does, and so great to have you with us on this Friday edition of the show. Lot to do in the next 60 minutes. Get you set up for the weekend. Page versus the Prince, Week 2 NFL picks. See how we follow up on last week's 3-1 for myself. Sam went 2-2. We've got some NASCAR to discuss, big race in Bristol, playoff night race to talk about. Robert Littal will be here from Black Sports Online. He'll actually be in Las Vegas, where we do the show from, a little later on today, because there's a big fight Saturday night. We'll talk about Canelo and Crawford with him, some of the top stories of the week as well. Some baseball to talk about, too, but we start things out in the NFL, Sam Yarnell, and boy, the Packers continue to impress. They beat the Commanders last night 27-18. If you watched this show yesterday, this guy right here told you it was a missed number, said it would be between 10 and 14. It wound up being 9. Pretty damn good if I say so myself. And look, the Commanders have some things to answer for, and we'll get to that in a second. But the story continues to be the Packers, this defense, pressure on Jaden Daniels all night, Sam. And some injuries suffered for both teams in this game that we'll talk about too. But the overriding theme continues to be this defense. And as much as I worry about Jordan Love being able to win in the playoffs, if they have a defense this good all year and it stays healthy and on the field, and Parsons only gets better as the year goes on, Sam, this is a scary team to deal with through the first 2 weeks of the NFL season.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right, Jason. I will say this with regard to the defensive thing on the Packers is I've gotten a little bit cautious myself of not overreacting to this because it is defense. It is the most volatile unit in the NFL. It is the unit in the NFL that can be a top 5 for the first 5 weeks of the season and a bottom 5 for the last 13. We see it happen all the time, and year-over-year change is a real thing, and that could also be for the positive in this case, right? That could be, in the case of the Packers, this defense is just going to be miles better than it was last year. Look at what the Philadelphia Eagles did last year, right? It could be very reminiscent of that. I'm not writing that off either. The defense is going to be what leads this team. And I think yesterday pretty much showed you that the offense is not going to be what leads this team. And I know I really don't understand why everybody on these, 3 and 4 letter networks this morning are coming on morning shows and saying, oh, wow, we're so impressed with Jordan. Did you not watch the same Jordan Love game that I watched, where he got bailed out by incredibly talented wide receivers half the time, and a third of his passes were overthrows? That I can think of 3 specific throws that should have resulted in touchdowns.
No, I'll give you the underthrow. Sam, I'll give you the underthrow on the first drive. Should have been a touchdown on 4th down. That was an underthrow. That should have been a touchdown. So I mean, you don't have to tell me.
Jordan Love, to me, is getting a ton of credit for a team win. And I think the Packers' success this year is going to be very reminiscent of, I know I said the Eagles from last season defensively, but when you look at that offense, it's going to be reminiscent of what has made the Baltimore Ravens so successful. They've got an all-pro caliber running back. They've got a very deep offensive line, missing 2 starting offensive linemen last night, including my pick to win Protector of the Year in Zach Tom, and they still made incredible work of, I think, 2 sacks allowed all night against a very strong Washington defensive front 4 at least, if not front 7. This Packers team is going to make their money this season off of being deep and off of their star power around Jordan Love and on the defensive side of the ball. I'll tell you this right now. Jordan Love does not have to do a lot to win a lot of games. And that's a good thing. And it's a good thing for Green Bay because I think they know what they've got in a not very successful quarterback.
Well, Sam, look, I'm not going to go so far as to say not very successful quarterback. The guy's had regular season success, and that's fine. There are still going to be some throws that drive you nuts with Jordan Love. The key point you mentioned, and I talk about this all the time when we analyze football teams and talk about quarterbacks. There are two types of quarterbacks. There's quarterbacks that enhance the talent around them, and there's quarterbacks that need talent around them to enhance them. Right now, I still put Jordan Love in the latter more than I put the former, which is why he doesn't have to be that great, because he does have playmakers around him that can make plays. So to me, as much as I want to put this on Jordan Love and be simplistic and say, well, they're only going to go as far as Jordan Love takes them, there's enough talent there, some of the total parts, that they may not have to. This team could win a Super Bowl. I know it's crazy to say that after week 2, prisoner to the moment stuff, but this team could wind up winning a Super Bowl as currently comprised if they stay healthy.
I think one of the most interesting things to me, and you, the viewer, and I, the host, are going to find out live as I'm doing this right now, if this made the Packers the NFC favorite. Because I thought, obviously, we know there's a huge game coming up this weekend that Jason and I will get into later in the show. But when you take an outlook at kind of what last night's game meant for the NFC, it was two juggernauts. And I think that it's very interesting that even with last night's result, the Packers still aren't favored over the Eagles to win the NFC, Jason. I think it says a lot about what the sports books took away from that game as well, in terms of how far Jordan Love can really take that team.
There's a lot of cautious optimism on that front. And the other thing I'll say is this, though. And this is, I mean, look, I get last year was last year and this year is this year. And there might be some regression with the Commanders to a degree, and we'll wait and see how that all plays out. They're 1-1. They didn't look great against the Giants, and obviously we saw what they were last night. They just the Packers just beat 2 teams last year that had 12 wins and went to the playoffs, and there's no way to overstate that. I mean, they beat handedly 2 teams that last year won 12 games. One went to the NFC Championship game. The other had, an amazing regular season. I mean, there's no way possibly to overstate that. So as of right now, if you're going to crown them, crown them. If I'm going to crown them right now, they're the team to beat to me in the NFC through the first week and 1 game of the season. They're the team to beat in the NFC. And I know that's going to hurt a lot of feelings in Philadelphia, because they're going to sit there and say, hey, we've got Jalen Hurts here, who could have easily been Super Bowl MVP twice, who's shown he can do it in the postseason, and you're giving us Jordan Love, who is, as I pointed out to Nick Ferguson the other day, is winless in his postseason career. You're giving us that team. Age 27 season, you saw it brought up a million times last night, Sam. Bart Starr won his Super Bowl age 27 season. Brett Favre won his Super Bowl age 27 season. Aaron Rodgers won his Super Bowl age 27 season. Maybe there's something to it. I don't know. I left you with no time, so you're not going to say anything, because you're just going to let me take it to break. Hey, coming up, we're talking baseball. A couple of home run milestones next. We keep things moving on this Friday edition of the show. In 10 minutes, Robert Littal drops by, founder of Black Sports Online. He'll actually be in Las Vegas this weekend. There might be a fight you heard about. Crawford, Canelo, Crawford, Allegiant Stadium. Listen, I'd be lying if I said I knew everything that was going on in the world of boxing, but even I know about that fight. So we'll talk about that big fight weekend, also some of the top stories in sports with our friend, the founder of Black Sports Online, Robert Littal. Sam Yarnell hangs out with us again in this segment of the show as we talk some baseball. A couple of milestones in baseball last night. Also now a change atop one of the division leads. Let's start with the home run milestones. Aaron Judge, 2 more home runs last night, ties Joe DiMaggio on the all-time Yankee home run list. With, I believe, numbers 360 and 361, if I'm not mistaken. Yankees beat the Tigers to salvage the finale of that 3-game series. Good news for the Yankees is Judge is heating up, Sam. And if they're going to make any sort of run in the postseason, obviously, they're going to need him to do something. Giancarlo Stanton, by the way, his 20th home run, as well as Judge continues this march towards 500 home runs, which would require a few more seasons at this pace. But even so, at his age, you'd have to think, health being what it is, that we're talking about a guy who's probably going to get to 500 home runs, Sam. I know you don't think so. Or I know you're more skeptical.
Or Stanton?
No. Well, they're both going to get to 500. They're both getting to 500. I would take that bet. Oh, give me that parlay in a heartbeat if it was ever available. Both of those guys are getting to 500.
So Judge is 33 at 361.
Yeah.
Stanton is 35 at 449. Stanton's got a better shot than Judge for sure.
You really don't believe Judge can... You don't think Aaron Judge in his sleep can hit 40 for the next 3 years, which gets him to
4
close?
seasons?
Yes. You think that's crazy at 32?
I think 40 home runs a year from a guy who's 34, 35, 36, and 37 is not normal. Like then you're talking about literally like Big Papi levels of not even. I don't even think Big Papi did that. I don't think Albert Pujols did that. And I don't think Aaron Judge is the power hitter that either of those guys were. So
what?
Yeah. No, that's also 40 home run seasons over the next 4 years on a 34, 35, 36, and 37-year-old Aaron Judge body.
Be a DH, Sam, if it ever came to it. You could be a DH and hit that many home runs.
Yeah, that's what they said this year, too, after the latest injury. And, yeah, it worked out for a while until he was hitting 200 for a month and a half. But regardless, it's not, the long game is not the friend of Aaron Judge. It never has been. He's been open about that.
Yeah, he's getting to 500. And Stan's definitely getting there, which I've been saying for 2 years, for crying out loud, and nobody's believed me when I said it. Mike Trout's got 399 after going through his longest home run drought of his career, Sam. I don't know if Trout gets to 500. It's not going to matter. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame anyway. But congratulations to Mike Trout on homer number 399, even though it was in a loss for the Angels. Which seems almost most appropriate. That homer 399 and we're talking about Trout. Oh yeah, by the way, the Angels lost again. I just feel bad that this guy's going to wind up playing his entire career, the meaningful parts of his career, on a franchise where he's never even going to sniff a World Series. That's one of the shames for sure.
The Mike Trout renaissance is not one that should be understated. The guy is exactly 1 year older than Aaron Judge, and he's been in the league for 4 more years. But he's about to play the most games he's played in a season since 2019. If ever there was a time to argue that for the first time in his career, Mike Trout actually might be getting healthier, now would be the time to do it. This guy is trending towards having one of his best seasons in years, and when we talk about career renaissance, this is exactly what we look for in that. So
batting average,
definitely a candidate for me for next year to have a breakout season.
Batting average is
re-breakout.
Yeah, the batting average. He's only hitting 235. He struck out 156 times, Sam. I mean, that's not, I don't know. That's not anything great. The collapse of the Astros, and it's inexplicable to me, Sam. I don't get this. I don't understand what the hell's going on with the Astros right now. There's no way you could tell me this has been smoke and mirrors this whole year, and now this is who they are. This team is way better than they're playing right now. I thought when they got Yordan Alvarez back, if anything, it would propel them to be an even better team. It was almost like a trade deadline acquisition without having to trade anything. And Alvarez is performing, and nobody else is.
Yeah, it's been a tough year for the Astros, right? And I mean, the Correa pickup was nice. Here's the thing. Jeremy Pena is back to hitting 300. And I think this team kind of is going to come and go with Jeremy Pena. This is a guy who's hit, like 240 over the last month. This is a guy who has performed so well through the first 4 months of the season. And then he had the injury, and I guess he's just never come back from
contract stuff too. Don't forget that. The contract stuff is
right. We were talking about him being paid like nobody's business come this offseason. I mean, he's not going to be lucky to get paid anywhere. He's still going to hit at worst, 290 with 17 homers and 70 runs driven in. I don't think that is stretching it. I think that's probably about what he'll do in 500 and call it 50 ABs. He'll get a sizable contract somewhere, no doubt in my mind. But it seems like this Astros team this year came and went with him, as weird as it is. And I'm not going to sit here and say that that's not the way it's going to be if they even make the playoffs at this point, because, Jason, you're talking about the World Series MVP from the last time they won it.
Sam, the Mets number now just one game on the loss side on Cincinnati and San Francisco for that third and final wild card as their collapse continues. They've lost 6 in a row. They lost to the Phillies again last night. Poor Barstool Frank is losing his mind right now. He's chewing up all his glasses. Sam, I don't know if anything can rescue the Mets right now. I really don't.
A game and a half from being out of the playoffs and plus 185 if you're involved in the betting markets. We took that number on Monday, and we cut it in a third, folks. Even more than that. That's what you call good betting. I gotta pat myself on the back for that one. But yeah, the Mets in September baseball, it's like oil and water. They don't mix. They're never successful together. And if you can make money on that not happening, I suggest doing so at any point.
The amazing thing is, though, they are still in the playoffs as of today, and they control their own destiny. And as Aaron Boone would like to say, it's all right in front of them. It's all right in front of us. Sam will join us later in the show for Page versus the Prince. Robert Littal joins us next. Welcome back to this Friday edition of the show. Coming up in 20 minutes, we talk NASCAR with Tino Pattigno, SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Betting Insider. You can see him on Tubi on the weekends as well with SiriusXM. You ever get on SiriusXM much, Robert Littal, founder of Black Sports Online?
Huh? I get it. Yeah, I get it in the car. Sometimes I want to listen to I like to listen to the baseball games and stuff like that. I mean, it's California. Every drive is a long drive. So,
I meant, are you like a guest on SiriusXM?
Oh yeah. I've been on a couple of shows. Kurt Morrison out there in Vegas has a show there that I go on pretty regularly.
There you go. Robert Littal is the founder of Black Sports Online. He hangs out with us today on the show, and he'll actually be in Las Vegas, where we are based. He'll be here later today. But there's a big fight this weekend. We're going to talk about that coming up in 10 minutes. It's funny. I feel terrible. True story. I got invited out. Al Bernstein is also a musician. He does a lot of musical stuff. And he had a show out here last night on Thursday night. He had 2 acts, 8 o'clock and 9:30. And he messaged me and said, hey, come out and see the show. And I was intending to go out and watch Al Bernstein's musical, his concert he was doing last night. And then I had I had this awful stomach bug that hit me, and I got stuck sitting at home, and I didn't get to go see Al Bernstein's show. So Al, I know you watched the show. I apologize for not making it last night. I was terribly sick. So I apologize for not making the show. I promise the next time you have a show, I will be there. All right, Robert Littal. We'll get to the boxing in 10 minutes. I want to get your thoughts on the latest developments in this Kawhi Leonard story, where now you've got a minority owner who's basically chipped in a couple $1 million to this aspiration thing after they were basically already have gone under, just so they can pay Kawhi Leonard a payment he was owed, because Uncle Dennis ain't going to wait. You'll find a horse's head in your bed if you're not careful with Uncle Dennis. I mean, every detail that continues to emerge in this story looks worse and worse for Steve Ballmer and the Clippers.
Well, like we talked about before, never believed a billionaire. Never believed a billionaire. No offense to Steve Ballmer, but it looks sketchy. It is sketchy. The company was sketchy, and the one thing you have to say is that they're coming with receipts to back up the story. And when you have enough evidence that backs it up, I think what you do is you just drip it out. You don't put it all out there. So that way when someone says something back about you and, oh, he's this and this can't be true, they just drop another drip in there and say, okay, what you think about this one then? How you going to explain that one then?
So you think Pablo Torre, is that what you think Pablo Torre's doing?
Oh, yeah.
You think he's got all the receipts and he's just releasing them in drips and drabs?
I think he held a little back, assuming this would happen. He would get pushed back. And to say, okay, all right, so okay, you explain that. Explain this. And honestly, this last one is I mean, that's really tough to explain. I mean, you just giving $2 million for, like you said, a company that's already
going under. Yeah.
All of a sudden, I thought you didn't know the company was in bad shape. That's what Baldwin said. He said he got conned. But how are you conned, but one of your minority owners is giving $2 million to them? If this, the only thing that I think that's saving them is that it's Kawhi Leonard. I feel like if it was any other high-profile player, it would get more attention. But because it's Kawhi, it still seems like it's a little under the radar to me.
I think they're going to get whacked. Whacked. He's going to have to. And I know he doesn't want to, because if you listen to the presser that he did, which I'll get to in a second here, just the other day, what he basically said was, the burden's on us. He does not want to go there because he knows he's going to have to do it with every other team in the league. He does not want to go there when it comes to this investigation. He wishes this would go away. And Pablo Torre's like, nope, tap, tap, tap. Nope, I got more to release. You just wait. Something else that Adam Silver said, and it felt incredibly tone deaf. This whole conversation about the fact that now you've got to go to 16 different streaming services to watch the NBA this year, between Peacock, Prime Video, ESPN, ESPN Plus, blah, 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 blah. All these different ways you're going to have to watch games. And the NFL is going through this now. I suspect at some point baseball will as well. But Adam Silver's response that, hey, you can just go on YouTube and watch the highlights of the game. And a lot of people thought it came across as tone deaf towards the fact that, they're basically you've already priced out fans from being able to go to the games because it's so damn expensive. Now you're going to price them out for being able to watch them?
Yeah, he basically called his own fans broke. But here's the thing about those TV contracts. Once they're locked in, they're locked in. Maybe sometimes there's some outs and some different things, but the outs are normally for the league, not for the TV people. So the TV people are so hungry for live events. The streaming service are trying to really solidify. It reminds me when Fox got the NFL. They were a network that didn't have that type of reputation.
Yeah.
And so these streaming services feel like they don't have this type of reputation, so they say using live sports for it. And he knows this, and he's using it against them, the fans. And also, I think for whatever reason, I think the NBA cares more about social than they do about ratings. They care how many, if LeBron dunks or such and such, Draymond gets into a fight. They care about those, X views or those YouTube views. It almost
TikTok,
feels like he was pushing people for that.
Yeah, and it's kind of perplexing to me because if I'm the TV partners and I just paid all this money, I'd be pissed. Yeah. I mean, forget the fans being mad, as they should be. If I were Prime Video, if I were Jeff Bezos, if I were, the folks at Peacock and NBC that just put out all this money, and ESPN, those are the guys that should be the most angry.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. It was an odd thing to say. I mean, I don't know if he was just woke up on the wrong side of the bed that morning, but I think he said something that you would say in private, public. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't even know. I can't figure it out. By the way, I said this to our friend Kurt Heelan yesterday. I'll say it to you, and I just want to see your instant reaction on it. I think Victor Wembanyama is going to be in the MVP conversation this year.
He stays healthy. Yeah, I mean, I think when you're that tall and those limbs and stuff, you always worry about injury. But I think third year, and he was coming last year. You felt it, and the Spurs were in the mix. I mean, the bottom half, but they were in the mix. Before he had.
They're going to be a playoff team this year. That's going to be a playoff team this year.
They have talent. If they can stay healthy, I definitely can see them in that mix.
Yeah, they're going to make a leap this year. I think that's a playoff team for sure. If they're not, I think they'd be disappointed in San Antonio. So I hear there's a big fight in Las Vegas this weekend. Some guy, Canelo, some guy named Crawford. Robert Littal is going to tell us why it matters coming up on the other side as SportsWrap continues. We got a fight night coming up on Saturday night in Las Vegas. Who's not going? Me. Why? Because I applied for credentials too late. I know, and it's my own fault because Robert Littal said, here's the link. He sent it to me. He led the horse to water. I just didn't drink it. But I got to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of going to live sporting events anymore. I'm just not. And that
Any
thing,
particular reason?
Huh?
Well, why?
As I get older, the crowds.
Understandable.
I'll make it even a little darker. Terror attacks.
Yeah.
Being in a confined area in like a pen, like a bunch of chickens in a coop, and somebody. It's just and not that I live my life in a state of fear.
You should.
But I don't. But I'm that guy who goes into a restaurant and I always have to be facing where the door is because like my head's just on a swivel. That's just how I think.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, especially with some of the news we've seen this week. So big fight in Las Vegas, Allegiant Stadium on Saturday night. Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford. In an age where the day of the mega fight is basically gone, the way of the dodo. Tell me why this fight matters so much as somebody who goes to these fights and gets all dressed up probably and puts on his Saturday night best.
Listen,
I want to know why this one matters.
Well, you really explained it. It doesn't happen as often anymore. There were a time when I was heavy into the boxing reporting. That's kind of how I got my start with my live reporting at events maybe 10, 15 years ago. You got 3 or 4 or 5 of these a year. And they were always either in Vegas, Madison Square Garden, maybe sometimes Texas Stadium. They were big events, and you can lock them in, one early, one in the spring, one in the summer, one in the fall, one in the winter. And it was big time guys. It was Floyd Mayweather. It was, if you go even further back, Oscar De La Hoya, sure. Mike Tyson. These used to be these huge events, and we don't get them anymore. Most of the biggest fights that we've had over the last 2 years have been done overseas, either in the UK or in Saudi Arabia. We do not get a lot of fights in America of this stature anymore, which is why I think so many people are excited about it. You have Canelo, who, by all accounts in America, is still the face of boxing. Boxing is very cultural in a sense that it's Mexican versus Puerto Rican, or Mexican versus black, or black versus white. That's what gets people going. So you have a Mexican icon against what Black America considers the best they have in the fighting realm. And they bring all of that together in Las Vegas during a prime time. As you know, September is a good time to do fights there because of the weather is a little bit better, and football season, everybody's gambling and everything. It's something that if we're lucky, we get once a year now to put boxing on the map. And, this is one of those fights.
At 35 and 37 years old, respectfully, is this fight coming a little too late?
Well, yes, in a sense that, first off, they're not in the same weight classes. So, I have to explain that, to people. It's not like they've been hovering around each other for 10 years and never fought.
They're fighting at 160. They're fighting at 168, right? Yeah.
Terence Crawford, for the majority of his career, has fought at either 140 or 147. And Canelo has been up above 160 for a good portion of his career. So they were never really on the same track until Terence Crawford decided to, move up in weight. And as I always say, normally a good big man to beat a good little man. But, he has enough fans to think that he can maybe, pull this out. I mean, in the end, it's about money. As you know, Turkey Al-Sheikh Dana White has stepped into the boxing realm. This fight doesn't happen under the normal traditional promoters because no one was going to give Canelo Alvarez $100 million. Nobody's going to give Terence Crawford $40-50 million, to fight each other. They had constraints with their finances, something that the Turkey Al-Sheikh clearly, does not. I mean, for $50 million, me and you will fight Canelo at 168. Well, I would have to go down to 168. But you get what I'm saying. But it is intriguing when you have those matchups of a guy that is a pound for pound great, but he's smaller, going up against a guy that's bigger, and you want to see if he can, make that leap and really, give this a go.
All right. So, I mean, Canelo's the favorite, rightfully so. Do you see anything that dissuades you from the idea that Canelo wins this fight?
No, not particularly. I mean, for him to lose the fight, Bud would have to fight a perfect fight. Also, Canelo would have to be greatly diminished in his skill set. And while he's not Canelo prime, neither is Bud. I mean, Bud is older than Canelo, even though he has less fights. But, if this was something where Canelo was maybe 40 or something and Terence Crawford was 28, or something like that, then yeah, you see, like you saw with Oscar De La Hoya and Manny Pacquiao. Oscar was on his way out and Manny was in his prime. I don't feel like this has the same type of vibe. I feel like these are two old vets, and one is much bigger and has been fighting at the weight much longer, that have a big money grab, and I look for a knockout for Canelo.
Wow, because that's what I was going to ask you. Does it make it to the scorecards, or do you think it's going to be a knockout? You think it's going to be a knockout, huh?
I don't think it's going to be a knockout. I mean, Terence Crawford, as great as he is, has been hurt by fighters in his own weight class. He always comes back and win. But if you get hurt by someone in your own weight class, what are you going to do when someone who has power, that's 2 weight classes above you, and that's been fighting there, and your legs are heavier, and everything's heavier because you're bigger. When he hits you, it's going to feel different. So I think that it's going to be a knockout.
Canelo is minus 182 to win the fight. Terence Crawford at plus 142. I know you're going to have a great time out there. Netflix, 9 p.m. Eastern. The coverage starts on Saturday night. Robert Littal, Black Sports Online founder. I always appreciate you, my friend. Hopefully I get to see you while you're here in Vegas.
We're trying to figure out a way to get together. I'll be there for a while.
We're coming back. All right. 10 minutes from now, Page versus the Prince. 4 NFL picks from me, 4 NFL picks from Sam. I went 3-1 last week. He went 2-2. I'm going to make that reminder as many times as I can, just because I know it pisses him off. It's what I do. I live for it. Tino Pattigno is here, ladies and gentlemen, because if it's a Friday on SportsWrap, it's a NASCAR Friday on SportsWrap. Every Monday and Friday on the show, we preview the race on Fridays. We recap it on Monday with Brian Twining. And it's funny, Brian always proudly says, before the season started, Sam, that he picked under 3.5 wins for Denny Hamlin. Well, now he has 5, so he didn't just go over, he went over by a couple. What is your level of surprise when you consider, what was expected of Hamlin, all the legal issues that have sort of circled around this team as well? What is your level of surprise with what Hamlin's been able to accomplish this year?
With Denny Hamlin being a fierce competitor, I didn't expect the lawsuit troubles to affect him on the track, although it is such a big, prominent, issue in the sport going on right now. It takes up a lot of his time. I think he can separate the two, but him getting to 5 wins is very impressive. I expected 3 to 4, so right around that range, like you mentioned. But I think the biggest thing going into the season for Denny was the new crew chief, and that's where expectations kind of took maybe a step back from where he was at this season. A lot of people also thought Christopher Bell was going to be the driver to step up to be the top dog, and he has in certain aspects, right? 3 wins earlier on this season. He arrived from that standpoint, but Chase Briscoe's been in the mix, and still it's Denny Hamlin leading the charge there. From that standpoint of getting the 5 wins and him still being the top contender for the championship like he has been the last 4 to 5 years, that's pretty impressive to me.
Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin obviously locked in with their round of locked into the round of 12 with their round of 16 wins. As you look at where we are right now on the cut line, here we are. We've got Austin Dillon, who's just outside the bubble at 13th, 11 behind Austin Cindric, who's obviously just barely in there right now. Shane Van Gisbergen, look, all I heard going into these playoffs was about Shane Van Gisbergen's 4 wins, how he was basically guaranteed to be in the final 8. There's no way he possibly couldn't wind up there. And now we're turning around this week, and he needs a good showing. Otherwise, he could actually find himself with 4 wins and not even making it through the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's what's probably going to happen here. Bristol's probably his worst track, or at least the hardest track to be able to conquer as a driver like him, new to the sport, new to ovals, and just obviously the leader when it comes to road courses, but Bristol is a beast, especially when it comes to the night race. He is in a position where if someone gets in trouble, those guys in 11th or 12th, and let's say they wreck out early, SVG can jump them, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it based off his own speed or own performance.
Do you think he just gets super aggressive and steps sort of outside his comfort zone this week, knowing what's at stake, knowing that he has 4 wins? Or do you think he's just comfortable enough in his own skin to say, hey, I got 4 wins this year. Nobody's going to be able to take that from me, and he's just going to race his race?
Well, racing his race, unfortunately for him at Bristol, is like running around 30th. So to me, I feel like he can't make up. It's gonna be a short amount of time, at least from what I've seen him at this track do. It's gonna be a short amount of time until he's getting lapped, and then by that standpoint, you really can't make up that many points. So he's gonna need outside factors to help him. Then comes into play. If he is able to advance because of that, you have a Roval road course in the round of 12, which would advance him to the round of 8, assuming he wins it. So I don't see him getting out of this round aside from people having trouble.
All right. Who's in the most danger of the guys that are inside when you look at this track? Logano plus 21, Chastain plus 19, Cindric obviously plus 11, being in the most precarious position. Who do you think is in the most danger and could slip below that cut line?
I'm actually going to go with Joey Logano. He's had a decent, start to the playoffs. Last week at WWT, raced inside the top 5. Could have been a long shot to win that race based off his track record there. But at Bristol, in the next gen era, he's just been bad. 34th in terms of average finish amongst all drivers. This is a champion. This is Joey Logano, one of the top 10 to 15 drivers consistently each and every week, ranking 34th. So I expect him to, race around there. Probably the back half of the bottom 20 from that aspect. And when you're in that mid-pack at a track like Bristol, when things can get chaotic, when other drivers do get aggressive, that's not where you want to be at, because wrecks do happen and you'll be right in the middle of it. And if that happens to Joey Logano, like I said, Austin Dillon could be the first beneficiary of that, or even SVG.
Joey Logano 25-1, by the way, to win this week. Your favorite: Kyle Larson at plus 290, Denny Hamlin at plus 440, and then Ryan Blaney at plus 750, Christopher Bell 9-1, Chase Briscoe 10-1. All right, in the final minute and 10 seconds here, who do you like and why?
You gotta like Kyle Larson. I know he's the favorite in this one, but I'm gonna explain to you why. 5 races here. In the last 5, he has 5 finishes inside the top 5. Back-to-back wins at this racetrack, a 2.8 average finish. If it's going to be him versus Denny Hamlin, I can imagine a battle of the best. I'd go with Larson. Now, to bring the odds up a little bit for you guys, in terms of average finish, Christopher Bell ranks 3rd in those last 5 races. I think he's fired up. He was saying it on the radio at the end of last week's race. They got to be better. I like that from a normally quiet guy in Bell. Plus 850 for him, I've seen. Plus 900 on certain books, so shop around. I think Christopher Bell could be the winner that isn't Kyle Larson or Denny Hamlin. Then for a guy that needs to win to advance that I like, Alex Bowman. 15-1 was a top 3 car here in the spring, racing for Hendrick Motorsports. That's the standard. So if he wouldn't have had engine trouble in the spring race, he would have had a strong top 3 day.
My guy Bubba Wallace, 30-1 to win this week, but he doesn't need to win. He's very safe.
4th in the standings right now.
Does that mean he can be a little more aggressive, though?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
In this race, he can take some chances.
Tino Pattigno, NASCAR, SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. Catch him on Tubi as well this weekend. Always appreciate you, my friend. Enjoy the racing. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. Just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Friday. Before we do, a couple of reminders. First of all, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. It's available on all your favorite podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon. You name it, we're on all of them. Make sure to go and check it out. You can watch us on almost 300 affiliates around the U.S. and Canada. We are very proud of that, but we're also proud of the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel, where you can watch the show, clips from the show, Sports Wrap shorts, anything breaking in sports. Head over to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. It's there for you 24/7, 365. All sorts of great content there as well. And without any further delay on this Friday edition of the show, Week 2 is already underway in the NFL, but now we're really going to kick it into another gear.
It's Friday, and that means it's time for the weekly face-off for sports betting bragging rights. It's Page versus the Prince on the Sports Wrap.
All right, Sam Yarnell, Week 2 in the NFL, with one game already in the books. 3-1 for yours truly last week. 2-2 for you. I know you did well on your in-game stuff. I know you're very proud of that. I want to make sure we make that clear. But as far as Page versus the Prince, you're already in second place, which is last place, because I'm the only other person. Sam, give me 4 winners. Give me 4 winners that I can meet you at the window for this weekend.
Yeah, I absolutely love the slate this week. And we'll start things out in New Orleans. Give me Mac Jones. Give me all the Mac Jones. I said this earlier on the show. Give me the 49ers. It's down to a flat 3 at -110. I will take that all day long. I've already bet it myself as of Thursday night when it dropped to 3. Give me the San Francisco 49ers. I think they blow them out, but I'm at least confident in Mac Jones to beat the hands-down worst team in the NFL by at least a field goal. It's not that hard. Who's the second worst team in the NFL, Prince of Picks? Who, Sam? Who should we consider that 31st best team? Oh, it's very clearly the Miami Dolphins, everybody. So yeah, we're going to go bet against them again this week as well. We'll go back to the well with that one. Give me the New England Patriots as a dog on the road, plus a 1.5. Play them on the money line however you want to. The New England Patriots are winning this game. Drake May is going to make that disheveled Dolphins secondary look like they're playing college football out there. And who knows, is Tyreek Hill even going to play in this game? Maybe he'll start this game and throw a tantrum and be out of it by the middle of the first quarter. Give me the Patriots. Give me the 1.5. I'll take them on the money line. Also, we're continuing the theme here of betting against teams that I just don't think are good at this point in the season. And I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions at home -6.5. You're giving me the Detroit Lions minus less than a touchdown against a team that they not only beat twice, but finished in the worst place in the NFC North last year. Listen, I don't think Caleb Williams is bad, but I think the Detroit Lions are still a very good football team. I'll lay the 6.5 in Detroit with the Lions against the Bears. My last and final pick goes to what everyone is calling the game of the week. And I agree. Listen, Patrick Mahomes has been a regular season home dog once in his career. It was to the Buffalo Bills. They lost that game by 4 points. He was a 1.5 dog. The sportsbooks know something when it comes to making the Chiefs a dog at home. They're trying to make $1 bazillion, and they know exactly what they're doing. I'll take the Philadelphia Eagles minus the 1.5 against the Kansas City Chiefs for multiple reasons, one of which is the Philadelphia Eagles are a better football team than the Kansas City Chiefs are on paper right now. So yeah, I'll lay the 1.5 with Philadelphia in Arrowhead. I trust the books knowing what they're doing and making Mahomes a home underdog. My 4-pack, the Niners -3, the Detroit Lions minus the 6.5, the New England Patriots plus a 1.5, and the Philadelphia Eagles minus 1.5 in Arrowhead.
All right, you've left me with 1 minute and 45 seconds. The good news is I don't need much more than that, Sam, because it's me. What? Yeah, that's it.
2 minutes.
No, I got to say goodbye to everybody.
But as you were.
But I got to say goodbye to everybody. And I've just lost 15 seconds talking about that. All right, give me the Browns plus 11.5 in Baltimore against the Ravens. I think this game winds up being a little bit closer than obviously the odds makers do. I'll take Cleveland plus the 11.5. A couple of totals I really like, Sam. Lions and Bears feels like a missed number. 47.5 feels really high for a Bears team that showed you what with that offense last week. Do you think Detroit, and this is a big bounce back spot, obviously, for Detroit. I love the total in this game at under 47.5. Obviously, a little juice to that under as well. Sam, I'm doing it out of spite. Give me the Saints plus 3. I think they win it on the field this weekend. I am not going to have any Saints shaming. Watching us down there in WVUE in New Orleans, we love your Saints this weekend. I will take them plus the 3 points, Sam Yarnell. That's my spite pick this week. I'll give you another one. Eagles-Chiefs, it's another total I like. Give me the under. I love the under in this game. 46.5. I don't see a ton of points being scored in this game. That Chiefs defense is still rock solid. They're still going to make stops. Obviously a big revenge spot for them. I'll take the Chiefs, the under in that game at 46.5. Bonus pick, by the way, it will not count towards me. I love the Bengals minus 3.5 as well, Sam. Love the Bengals minus the 3.5. So We don't need to hear you, Chad. So those are my picks. Week 2 in the NFL. I went 3-1 last week. You have a prediction for what my record will be this week, Sam?
No.
We're out of time. Tino. Thanks to Tino Pattigno, Robert Littal, you, Sam Yarnell. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here next week for all new Sports Wrap.